Everybody, let's have a big round of applause for this event of Maharashtra TPO Association.
For a discussion.
Ladies and gentlemen, I understand that you are sitting for a long time without a break, and because of time constraint, you have to rush through the program. I'm extremely sorry for that. Okay, we have a very power-packed panel. What is IT product job? Sir, should I join an IT product company or should I join a service company? Sir, what are the skill sets required for IT product company? What are the skill sets required for services company? And so on and so forth. And these questions we have been carrying on for a long time, right? And some of the answers probably you have got when we are listening to the dignitaries who are speaking in the inaugural ceremony. Maybe Vice Chancellor sir, Deepak sir, Wagh sir, they have thrown some insights on what are the skill sets required. Nevertheless, what we'll do is we'll give some time for each industry professional to give insights about how they look at this problem. Okay, the topic for the discussion is IT product and IT services. Both companies, how do they look at the recruitment trends in the near future, that is 2023, and at the little far future, maybe in the next decade or so. What are the skill set that they're looking at? What are the hiring trends that they're looking at, and so on and so forth. Okay. So please allow me to welcome the panelists. We have Jyotsna, Ms. Jyotsna from NASSCOM. Just like we have Maha Association, NASSCOM represents Association of all IT organizations. It is a very conflicting thing, you know. TCS bargain competes for a project, Capgemini also competes for a project, and Accenture also competes the same project. But they leave this aside and come together, form an association which bargains and markets them, brands them internationally. I happened to meet Deepak who was there earlier, long time back. He's no more, unfortunately. But he is someone who pioneered this marketing of one particular association kind of stuff, and there are awards being given in his name. Okay, so please welcome with a big round of applause, Ms. Jyotsna ma'am. He is a seasoned professional and person, as you know, is a high-tech company started by Dr. Anand Deshpande, fastest growing probably company, okay? So we will hear from him how persistent is managing these recruitment problems, recruitment expectations and aspirations of the students, of the next generation, and so forth, okay? Then we have next in line, Deepak Mahajan. He is representing a very experienced professional, worked in both the IT service companies, IT product companies, so he probably will give you insights on how the conflict happens, you know, while you look at talent from the services perspective, the product perspective, because he has handled both the domains, you know, whether it's IT service companies or IT product companies. So please welcome with a round of applause, Deepak Mahajan. Next we have Mr. Vishal Ramupalli. I was interacting with him yesterday evening over the phone call. We haven't met, unfortunately. We do a lot of recruitment with TCS. TCS is a brand, you know, and it means a lot to a lot of people sitting over here. Not just because they recruit from our colleges, but as a pioneer in IT sector. Okay, when Dr. Kohli thought about something called computer industry, no one was aware of it. No one, believe me. I had the privilege of interacting with Dr. Kohli sir for at least 4 or 5 interactions, and the guy was very humble, you know. That humility, humbleness, I really respect, and I hope he will give you great insights into how things work at TCS with respect to recruitment and the growth of the students. Then we have Dr. Munir Sayyed, good friend of mine. We have chatted long time on various topics. He's a technocrat who has opinions, who has views on multiple topics, multiple issues, and if you give him a mic, he will talk probably for the whole day. So we'll have to restrict his expertise at the time constraint. Okay, so please forgive me if I cut you short, if at all, because of time constraint. We like to hear your thoughts. Great to have you, sir. Please have a round of applause to sir. Next in line is Ms. Manisha Patil from Multimetric, which is a product company. Please, can we have Manisha ma'am on the dais, please? She's joining a little later. Okay, sorry. Unfortunately, Kamlesh Jagdari from Nutanix, he was waiting and joined on an online mode because he was not able to come physically, and our program got extended beyond time. Our session was supposed to start around 12ish, and now it is almost 1 o'clock. So we had another commitment which we could not dishonor, So he has dropped out at the last minute, just now, a couple of minutes back. He sent message saying he will not be able to make it for this event. But anyways, thanks a lot for giving us time, and he had promised and kept his promise till 1 o'clock. Unfortunately, we were not able to keep our promise of putting things on time. Then we have Avinash Joshi from Infosys, another seasoned professional. We have interacted over the phone a lot of time, personal met couple of times. Good colleague to work with, good interactions. Another Indian company which has made us strong nationally, internationally, started with 6-7 guys from IIT Bombay, IIT, different kinds of different IITs, and nothing in hand, and it is a multi-billion-dollar company. Okay, that's what Wagh sir and other people were talking about: technology and innovation, and how do we create value to this nation and to the generations. Okay, so when we talk about value creation, my personal aim is that our per capita income should increase. I'm not worried about $1 trillion, 5 trillion, okay, because trillions are addition or multiplication of small units. And I believe that we have to increase the smaller units, okay? That the summation or the multiplication factor could be 50 trillion. But if my small unit is very small, as it is today, like $2,000 per person, I think we have to work a little hard, okay? So we have different perspectives, different people. Now we'll have Alvin David from Eugene Software joining online. So we'll see can we have Manoj Kaladkar sir from our Ministry of Technology, please? Yeah, he's a person of real great repute, working tirelessly for the last several years in the placement scenario, and also is a soft skill development, life skill development trainer, and has taken our Ministry of Technology to a different level in terms of placement. We always talk about Microsoft, the Googles, and others going to IITs, but there is one college called our Ministry of Technology where the top brands go and hire from. Credit to Manoj Kaladkar sir. Please give him a round of applause. That this is the only representation from our side going against or going with so many industry professionals. So difficult job for you, sir, to protect our interests, to protect our reputation when we look at the entire panel. Okay, so our prestige is in your hands, sir. So all the best. So we'll see. There is one person from Google, Allah Kulkarni. He will not be talking as HR manager. He is going to be talking about his own personal experience, about the technical skills, what kind of skills are required at the Google. Okay. Allah also happens to be my student, whom I placed in 2015-16 in Ulhas. And then there is one person from Microsoft, Ms. Shraddha Srivastava. Now Shraddha also happens to be my student from 2003 batch from Accenture University. And believe me, it is a very satisfying journey, for me as a accidental training and placement officer, just like Virendra Sehwag going into batting at the opening position when he had never ever batted at opening, okay? He was basically a middle order batsman. I was accidentally told by principal, why don't you take over this placement job way back in 98-99 when I was just 27, okay? So the journey has been, okay, challenging, maybe a little bit taxing, but yes, we have spread happiness to a large number of people. A lot of people, more than 5,000 people in place so far. Okay, so let's start the. Okay, so we have Shraddha from Microsoft. So if you permit, we'll start with Shraddha's comments on how Shraddha looks at recruitment skills, technical skills, and how does she look at the skill set that Microsoft looks at while hiring people, and how do students at the private colleges who are not having that leverage as IITs have can prepare to get into companies like Microsoft or Google. Over to you, Shraddha, please. Can we have sound, please?
I'm not able to hear very clearly. Was there a question for me? Most of the college university recruitment that happens via the university department, where the company goes to universities to take the interviews, right? There are few other options. Like people can try to get into early programs like internship. Internship is also another very good method. In fact, for female students, there are few other programs that many such tier 1 product companies host. At Microsoft, it's called the CODES program, where students from even first year even get to participate and do an internship, where they're guided through various through what industry looks like, right? But overall, when the interview happens, the few things that the company looks at is from the personal branding perspective. How's the student doing? The questions that primarily, like if you consider software engineering, the company is hiring for the entire company instead of one specific job position. So the interviews are very generic in the sense it could be around. Most of the rounds are around coding, problem solving, algorithms, data structure, etc. Of course, the hiring also happens for PMs, program managers. There are few other streams in product companies like design and data analysis. The ML and AI part, where many students these days are interested in the data science and data analysis field, right? And these questions are asked specifically for those departments. But as far as I'm represented in engineering, software engineering, and as far as software engineering goes, is primarily these students are very forward. They go ahead and attend several competitive programming things. They code a lot. They go to various websites like HackRank, Kodak, and so on, and they try to build their profile. I would suggest even for students who are who are targeting to get into software engineering, they should do more of this. And of course, the thing that go along with it is the soft skill part, which is basically having a branding for themselves, right? Like if they are saying that they are into competitive programming, then they should be honest. Right, like it shouldn't be that they did 1 or 2 and then they call themselves competitive programmers, right? That is one of the things. The other thing is there are a bunch of leadership principles that the companies follow. For example, in Microsoft, one of the few leadership principles are generate energy, brings clarity, and drives growth. Right? Like, so these the leadership principles that we have, interviewers try to get a sense from the students if they have if they would be good fit for the company based on these leadership principles. Do they generate that energy? Are they inquisitive about learning? So the company companies are not really looking for students who know it all, but what is their thought process? How do they approach the problem? Do they have drive to do better, to learn more, and actually do they have drive to get to the result part? So this would be obviously their personality, the soft skill part, and of course when it comes to subjects, I would say good practice and being honest, hard work definitely takes is super important, and that definitely takes people places. Thank you.
Meanwhile,
Absolutely.
Kamlesh sir is there. Unfortunately, I made a mistake saying that he is disconnected. He's very much there waiting for the call. I'm very sorry, sir. Can you put Kamlesh sir? Please welcome Kamlesh sir from Nutanix. I'm extremely sorry for the delay in time, sir. Can you give your insights into how Nutanix looks into recruitment needs, the skills need, and how do you see the future trends, sir?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me here. As a Nutanix, we definitely are one of the product company who operates in very unique space of hyper-converged infrastructure, wherein we want to put the entire the data and the large data centers on cloud and make it easier for the entire world. And that keeps us right at the basics rather than talking about those high technologies which kind of attracts this crowd nowadays, like AI, ML, the IoT, virtual reality, and all those stuff will definitely play a role. But I think what we as a company, what we focus when we go on campus is the basic fundamentals and the conceptual understanding of students. Example, let's say if you have, nowadays if you will see, especially this batch of students who have seen this 2 years of remote classes and remote work, you will find a slight gap in between the practical understanding of concepts than what we used to see earlier. So what we focus is more on the fundamentals, like who understands it and can relate it to the real life problem statements. And what we focus also is on the reverse engineering part. So rather than talking only about the definitions of things, can you relate it to some problems which we are actually facing in the real world, and which we can actually utilize those concepts while we are defining our products which are actually solving the problems in the real world. That's where we more focus on. As Shraddha rightly mentioned, at times along with those basics fundas, we don't expect any science from students, irrespective of the fact that when you talk about any top product companies, including ours, we just need basics to be clear, and what we find is the right fit for an organization. Every company has their own values. Microsoft is what Shraddha mentions. We have our values are like, hungry, humble, and honest with heart. That is what we find when it comes to finding talent on campus, rather than finding out something which is out of the box, because we understand these guys are all freshers and we are okay to invest time in terms of training them and molding them. What we just want is the the ability to adapt and learn on the job, unlike the service-based companies approach, wherein companies have 3 months or 6 months of a training model and then they will deploy. That doesn't happen in the product-based companies, and we want somebody who will actually be a self-starter and will take things on the job. That's where we more come from, and really want people who are understanding the basics of CS fundamentals and who can directly relate it to the products. That's where we come from, and yeah, those are my 2 cents in terms of what we look at. Thank you.
If you want to say something more, you can do it. You're being time constrained, so otherwise you can push it again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dominic sir Dominic Deepak from CS, please come on the dais, sir. Extreme apologies, that was my error. Reading the names. Okay, so all industries have an apex body which define or gives some vision statement, which gives you guidance, gives you idea. Just like we at engineering college, we have a DT which gives us guidance. Same thing goes with the IT service or product companies. They have an apex body which is looking at the bigger picture of sales, business, how things are going to work, what technique is going to come in, where the business is going to move in, if America is going down, how do we migrate business from America to Europe, and those all things are being managed or being deliberated at a very high level. So they have a bird's eye view of the whole industry. So we'll start with Jyotsna ma'am, if she can throw insight into the future trends of hiring as well as future technology skills that the new generation of students should acquire. That will set the tone for how do we go ahead in this panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll begin by talking about what's the global trend and then come to India. So if you look at global trend in tech jobs per se, there are 1.4 million tech jobs globally. And I'm particularly talking about United States as an example, where 400 supply pool, if we talk about. So what has happened is the twin factor of the resignations and the attrition that happened in the COVID times, along with the talent gap that was already there, has a compounded effect across the globe. So what that has led to is, if we look at countries like United States, where the technology talent gap is 34% compared to India, which is 21%. So what this is leading to is India not only has to serve its own country when it comes to talent, but there is a pressing demand from global perspective. Now what that translates into is there is a risk that if we don't solve for this talent gap, our country is going to be at a risk of a competitive advantage that we currently maintain. The reason, because high attrition, high salaries, the salaries are going high. Small, medium businesses who are struggling to get talent, they're ready to throw money. I mean, one conversation I was having yesterday, somebody said, if you can get me an offer from, sorry to say, TCS, then I'll just give me the offer and I'll give you 40% raise on that. So that's the reality of what the market is getting to be. So, and thanks for initiatives such as this, where we can all come together and really solve for the talent need. And as NASSCOM, we've done an MOU with Maharashtra state government, where every university will have skill-based programs, and that is what is required, where more problem-solving skills, more hackathons, more and more of skill and industry needs embedded into the curriculum. So that's where it is headed. Now recruitment per se, I'll just take a few minutes. I know we have a lot of panelists. So from a recruitment standpoint, companies are going more and more second tier, third tier, because that's the only way they're going to remain competitive. Companies that are not able to hire digital talent or don't have technology, 40% of the companies will perish. So they have to go to second, third tier cities. Currently, most of the talent is in emerging or main hubs, which is 80%. So 40% is currently in second, third tier city. So the reverse migration is really going to help. So I think that's where the trend is. And fresher hiring, because to stay competitive, you have to go to fresher hiring. It's no more of lateral can't be afforded, so that's going to be more and more. So that's why thank you for running programs like this, which will really bring a difference.
Thanks a lot, Jyotsna. Nice, insightful information or knowledge that the TPOs can take away. There is enough choice or enough scope standing in front of you, coming from a very small place, okay? So there is a talent. I'm not justifying this to pick up people from smaller places. Yes, there is talent. Yes, the language problem could be there. But as an engineer, as a technology person, I do feel that knowledge is a small part of the whole problem. If you have talent, you will always, So let's go to Chancellor and hear his thoughts on this, please.
So as ma'am was saying, that there is and for the lateral, I do see that lateral teams are facing problem in getting the lateral experienced people. And and the pressure is coming on the campus side at this point of time. So that is one, and that's the reason why we go to tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 colleges. We do recruit students from those colleges. the only thing which even the sir said over there is about the communication. So we need to focus on the communication aspect. That is going to be.
Thanks a lot, Sachin. Now we'll go to Vitesh Mahajan sir from ConnectWise. With great experience, as I said, in both IT product and IT services, his thoughts about the company as well as his own experience of handling these two different fields may be very insightful for all of us TPOs here. Please, sir.
Thank you. First of all, I am overwhelmed, by looking at this kind of gathering is happening. It's really helping the industry go ahead. And I'm really overwhelmed.
Guys, can you maintain silence, please?
I was observing.
We have people over here who have traveled all the way, and please maintain silence for some time. Right? All committee members are requested to come and sit in the front, please. Thank you.
Thank you. So I was very overwhelmed, and one word really come out very bold for me is passion. That's what coming out of this room to me, from all the TPOs, all the organizers. So thank you for that. I would like to touch upon on three things. One is the product versus services war. That mindset we have to stop, because these are two pillars. These are not versus. Product versus services. Services I get this kind of packages and services. Product gives me better packages. We have to stop that as a fraternity. There are reasons for this, because these are apple and oranges. Cannot compare. The revenue and operating model of these two sectors are completely different. There cannot be comparison between these two. So we have to inculcate this mindset within our students also. It is us who inculcates that mindset within our students, saying, I want to join product-based company. I want to go on site. That comes from alumni or us, as their mentors. So that's the first point I want to make is, there should not be any bifurcation between services and product. These are two inevitable pillars. They are coexisting. Very important pillars for the entire ecosystem. The second point, I think, I've been hearing very carefully for all of our speakers and the guest speakers, that we are talking about skill gaps. So skill gaps is always there. It's not only IT. Let's talk about plumbing at our house. There is a skill gap, right? I cannot get a plumber if I call just on my mobile. I cannot. There is a skill gap. But what I want to highlight here is there is a mindset gap as well. Mindset gap is, so I have a extensive experience working in services as well as products, both of them. I have worked in manufacturing also in Japan, London, and in various countries. The mindset gap here is what we need to change as leaders through our student is, we hire them so that they can tell me what to do. We don't hire them so that I need to tell them what to do. That's the current mindset I have as a student, right? That after college, if I'm getting campus hired somewhere, I will wait. My team leader will come. My manager will come. He or she will give me the task. No, it has gone are the days. We need minds. We need great minds to start working from the first month itself. So you go back to your managers asking, okay, this is what I think about it. So this is not my code. This is Steve Jobs' code. That you hire smart people so that they can tell you what to do. Not you need to tell them what to do, right? So that's the mindset change, mindset shift we have to do in the students. Skill gap is always there. If you ask me, I don't hire only based on the skill. So I hire on the character, attitude. Skill can be taught. You tell me one technology which cannot be taught in 3 months. There is no technology such like that. I'll quote a quick example. So China was going through a big recession in 1950s or 1960s because they were going out of people because of their language barrier. What is the language in China? Mandarin. It's not Chinese, it's Mandarin. So what they used to do was, they used to import all the IT people and teach them Mandarin. Mandarin is the toughest language of the world. It used to take 2 to 3 years. But then it was not changing the shape of China in 1950s, 1960s. So they have done a very simple change to it. And what was that? If you know Mandarin, I will teach you computers. And that lead time was only 3 months. And that's where China have started, ruling out the market. That whosoever knows Mandarin, you just come to us, we'll teach you the computers. Because the major disadvantage of IT industry is it's very easy. It's not a rocket science, it's very easy. So that mindset change, we are not doing any rocket science. There is no factory. We are not producing people from the factory, right? We want great minds who can solve our problems, who can tell us what to do. That's the second point I wanted to cover, in the today's eras of hiring, of a typical techie. I think Kamlesh was also touching base on the same. The third thing is how I represent myself as a student, the resume building. I've been hiring since from last 1.5 decades now, in the campus, in the experience laterals. The one thing which is very common since from last 15 years is poor resumes. That's the entry point. I have seen great resumes from NITs, I have seen great resume from a small colleges also. But we have to pay a separate attention to that. I think all of us, a lot of colleges are doing it, but not doing until that extent. There are copy-paste, to be very honest, in resumes. Yeah, there are copy-paste. I've been, if I screen some resumes, I can clearly see that there are copy-paste. But giving this detail of attention to resume building is very important, when it comes to this kind of hiring, and that will automatically minimize the skill gap. Yeah, the moment I, as an individual, as a student, if I build my resume correctly, I will understand that what technology I need to put. I cannot put any technology there, I cannot copy-paste. Then automatically I will go back and will start learning Golang, because I need to put that Golang into my resume. So that's the third point I wanted to cover, that these are the 3 points the current industry is also facing. If we overcome that as a group, I think then sky is the limit for all of us.
Thank you very much, sir. It's excellent input, especially the concept that IT product versus IT services, that should not be there. That's what we as TPO also understand, and we try to communicate to the students that there is no silos, that IT product, IT services. There have been multiple migrations. The 2 people that were on the Microsoft or Google platform are my own students who have started with service and then moved on to product. So we all TPOs will definitely think over it and implement the same with the students. Thank you very much, sir. Now we will go to Kaladkar sir, Manoj Kaladkar sir, who is a veteran in placements, great placement records, to give his thoughts on these 2 issues. Please. Thank you very much, sir.
In fact, the examples which Mr. Dipesh quote, okay, I represent Army Institute of Technology. So it's the only college run in India by Indian Army, and with the same contest, I would quickly tell you one example of 1965 war. And that war, is between India and Pakistan. And US, United States of America, at that time was with Pakistan. Now today they are with whom we all know. But in that phase, the United States gave patent tanks to Pakistan. And that tanks were very automated and hi-fi and high class, and Pakistan's planning was within 2 days, we will not only defeat India, but we will conquer Delhi. And that was the operation which they planned. Actually, when the war started, we didn't have that kind of tanks, we didn't have that kind of aeroplanes with us. But our soldiers, forget about army officers, our soldiers, and out of one was Mr. late Abdul Hamid. Within 2 days, our soldiers destroyed 17 patent tanks. And the dream of Pakistan to defeat India and to take Delhi was all in doom. And this is where Dipesh comes from, the point. Technology will come and go. Today, everybody is talking about full stack development. Even when the student come to me or come to us, sir, FSD का profile है क्या बताओ? मैंने बोला, what is FSD? Full stack development. But is he really aware what is expected from full stack development? Is he aware what is the meaning of front end to back end? What is the meaning of that? What are the responsibilities they are carrying? Because connecting the dots to that war example, and when they interviewed Indian soldiers, they told that it's a man who built the machines. Our soldiers were trained in such a passionate environment they didn't even care about सामने patent tags है क्या है. And connecting it to the placements, every job of the TPO is to build students first. The job of the TPO is to check their CVs. Like Deepak told, how many TPOs from us are checking at least 50, even 50 CVs of our students? We are not. They are copying starting from career objective to hobbies. It's a copy paste. Even skill sets also. Thanks God, the other details are not same. Okay, but this is how where the TPO come into the picture, and he rightly pointed out IT product or services. It's the next topic. First, build your students, train your students, involve faculty into that, and then automatically all things will get sorted out. And after COVID, dealing with the student itself has become a very tough challenge. Even students are to be trained to come for pre-placement talk on time. Okay, they have lost the touch, physical touch, everything they have lost. So attitude building is the another responsibility now TPO has to take. So Sanjay Dado extended a vote of thanks to all TPOs. My appeal to you that when we will meet next year, TPO skill set will be enhanced automatically because they will be dealing with the post-COVID batches. So this is how academia's perspective as far as the product and services is concerned. And we all are from tier 2, tier 1 colleges. If the students are really capable to get a product job, he will get it. But the skill sets are not built. And in medical sciences, there are MS neurosurgeon. It's like a product. He will operate on the med. But जब पहले सर्दी जुकाम होता है तो we go to the MBBS and MD doctor. Because the first screening is also important. That's why the point of academia from my side. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for this excellent perspective. You talked about attitude. That's the most important. Most of the companies hire for attitude and then train for aptitude. That's the golden saying. And now let's move on to Animesh Joshi from Infosys. What does it take about and how do they manage this war for talent? What, if you can say so, because there's a competition to go for day 1, day 2. That's why I'm using that word. Because when we started in 99, 2000, there was all competition to go for day 1, day 2. And how do you manage this constraints, to get the talent, right talent in your company to meet the demands of the technology as well as complex projects? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's not a one answer to this particular question, but what we realized post-pandemic was that it's very difficult to control the students. It's very difficult to say that we are the day 1 company, we are the day 2 company. But at the same time, what we had realized that there is a certain change in what we want as well from the students. And once we had these 2 programs of TPO and Hack with Info where we reached out to all the colleges and not just our set of colleges. And we realized that there is a talent beyond the tier 1 and tier 2 set of colleges. One other challenge that we have now faced, especially with the onset of COVID and things moving virtually, is that final year students are making, they're making placements too complicated. It's not. We are looking at freshers. You don't come with a lot of credibility. All your credibility is the knowledge that you know. But it's becoming each year, especially in the last 2-3 years, with a lot of tech startups coming in and giving certifications. Now there is a predominant focus on getting more and more certifications, rather than getting more skills. I see resumes of freshers. It's a 2-3 page resume. What are you talking about? It's just certifications, and these are not something that these are not skill set that reciprocate what we need. So, the only thing that I would recommend all the TPOs is firstly, it's very important to counsel these students because their expectations is over the moon. Especially with what happened last year, I think this was an anomaly. It's not something that you'll see every year that every student has 3, 4, 5 jobs. It's not something that you'll see again. So you need to keep the students grounded, first and foremost. Make them understand that as any organization, and I think I resonate with all the delegates here, is that we are not looking at extremely bright people. We are looking at people who know how to learn, who know how to adapt. And as far as communication is concerned, a lot of emphasis on communication is basically about how you speak, but it's much more than that. Are you able to fit in the culture of any organization is something that a lot of people, especially from tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities, are not able to gel well, is because a lot of focus is only being given on speaking communication. Especially for IT service bases, it's much more, it's more about how you hear and how you comprehend, your clarity of thought. So again, my only suggestion, I will not take a lot of time, I just want to conclude, is that your focus should be on keeping the students grounded, stick to your core, stick to what you've learned, and be open to adapting, be open to learning new technologies. You'll get good opportunities 3-4 years down the line, but as freshers, you really need to go ahead with whatever you studied, and just be open to new challenges, be open to new learning.
Thanks a lot, Nimesh. He has given a good assurance to all the students, the TPOs, that companies really don't look at certificates. So don't buy certificates, don't buy courses. Work hard on your skill sets, and the skill sets will take you across the interview line. The certifications will take you up to the interview line. So our aim is not to get an interview. Yesterday I was talking to the students, and there was a statement saying the basic objective of preparing a CV is to get an interview call. Okay, that was the discussion going on. I said we don't believe in this. Our basic objective is to get a job and work there. Interview call लेके क्या करना है? 10 होंगे, 15 होंगे, 20 होंगे. जब तक मुझे offer letter नहीं आता है, I'm not getting the chance to work in industry. Those interview calls make nothing. It will make me more and more worse. So we'll ensure that your suggestions are taken seriously. We'll implement them. So on the same lines, because Infosys, TCS are more or less similar kind of companies, work on more or less similar projects, large size, both of them. So we'll ask Vishal to give his insights on how they are managing this things.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Very first of all, overwhelmed, got very kind of the thing on platform where I can say and put my things over there. Thank you. Secondly, yes, about the recruitment, I'll start with the recruitment process. A lot of people are like from students from our colleges and things that result, I am from this XYZ branch, I am from this XYZ branch, TCS, or others, companies. Why they will hire us? I don't know the coding part, why they will hire us. And I know the mechanical part itself. I know should I go for the core branch or should I go to core companies or circuit companies where I can find my interest, role or interest in things that I can do. But trust me guys, like with the TCS or other companies as well, they have started with the units where the kind of the core work plus circuit works, they require that kind of knowledge, that kind of students who have that kind of experience or expertise that they are what they are doing, etc. So yes, we are hiring. It's not only the CSIT people, CSIT folks, pharma or this one. We are having all kind of requirements. You just come up with your expertise and have your interview processes. Definitely, we are there to hire. If in case you're thinking like, this is the IT only company where we will not be finding our requirements or kind of roles that we will be looking forward for the next step or for career of ours. So trust me, we are having that kind of roles. We are having each and everything that the skills that you are possessing, that projects we are having. Just you need to come up forward, register, have the interviews, get selected. Definitely we are there. Our academic partners are also there for you guys. Yes, that I would like to share through you guys to your students itself. And yes, we are having good numbers. And yes, we are looking forward to that.
Thank you very much, Vishal. Excellent perspective. And we have different kinds of students: mechanical, electrical, civil, all this kind of pharmaceutical. And then obviously there is a domain knowledge. When they come to the IT industry, they have only learned coding part of it. The rest they already learned. You just pick up a computer science student and try to teach him mechanical. It will be hell of a lifetime, okay? I am a teacher for 15-20 years. I can tell you with 100% guarantee assurance, that it is easier to teach someone computer or coding than teaching someone core mechanical concept, or I'm from chemical engineering background. Okay? It will be very, very difficult for someone with IT background or electronics background and come and learn about us, बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा, लेकिन रिवर्स पॉसिबल है. सही है गलत है मुझे मालूम नहीं. I don't want to comment on that, okay, because it's a personal choice. What kind of companies and person a student want to join. Students come and tell us, sir, I've done 4 years of engineering and I want, why should I join another company, other field like IT or consulting? The answer is simple, sir. I can go to IITs and look at what they are doing after 4 years. Go to IITs, the brightest of minds, okay, with the brightest of teachers. Competition is great, teacher is great, student is great, infrastructure is great, 200 crore budget only on R&D. Finally, most of them do their GRE, go to MS, or give their care and go and work in BATU, consulting firms. The question is not us to decide what he or she will do. It is for the individual student to take a call. What is important for me? Growth is important, or doing the same thing that I was doing yesterday is important. If he's very happy doing the same thing that he did 4 years back, in the next 4 years, obviously his growth will be stunted. Okay. Having said that, let's move on to Dominic sir and take his perspective on how Sears and he himself looks at this problem of skills and future trends. Sir.
Thank you, sir. Firstly, on the lighter note, I have moved from Phoenix to Mall, market yard, wholesale. I'm more happy to get into market yard and hire people at wholesale, get them trained, pay them decent enough, which is enough to take them home, not to KFC every day. Okay, so that's how it is. So we have this discussion in every forum and it's become almost common, skill gap. And now the new discussion is work from home, how to get people back to work. So this will never end. We will go on discussing probably next year also, and nothing will come to a conclusion. So to get into trends and all, for me, I am very happy to get into an institute, and an institute tells me a dashboard, shows me a dashboard that normally 40 students trained on cloud, GCP, all set, trained. These are only going to work on cloud. They understand my requirement, what I have. They tell me I have X number of students trained on data, as data analyst or into data science, and this is your requirement, look into that. For me, that student, even if I invest 3 more months on that particular folk, I'm okay with it. I do not want to walk into a place where there are n number of folks with the same kind of knowledge and expertise. And then I have to hunt again. So my numbers are very limited, for example. So companies are going to limit their requirements, and every organization is now getting tailor-made into their requirements. So even as an industry, we need to change our trend of hiring. When I walk into an institute or I send my first invite mail to the college, do I say that I need cloud engineers? Do I need Salesforce professionals? Do I need? So what happens is I send a very generic statement. Okay. For bigger organizations where the numbers are very high, that may not happen. But for smaller ones, product development companies, this is pretty precise in the right format of hiring. For a company like Infosys, TCS, where there are n number of people who are going to work into different domains, they have also got into a very simple trend. So if you look at, I'm pretty happy with what Infosys does. A 21-day program, training them on hoops, data structures and stuff. Please know that much, which I think in 4 years, if you're not able to do, then you're not worth it. So just get into your basics. Get ready in terms of attitude, what Dipesh said, all these aspects. So I have students who are getting trained for 6 months. I've invested time, I've got them certified, and now an individual tells me, you know what, I'm GCP certified. My value in the market is 15 lakhs. Are you ready to offer me that, or I'm leaving you in 6 months? So you need to train those students with the right attitude. Is this the right kind of attitude that I need in the company? No, I don't need. So I even tell the candidate, you can walk out the very next moment. So this rush of good salaries will continue. There will be a lot of IPL auctioning happening. But you know, the next IPL auction, you'll be walked out. So be ready for that thing. So I think the placement fraternity also as a unit needs to get down to the basics that, you know what I did 40 years back for my job is going to be the same now also. So you're going to invest 30 years, 40 years, and that journey is going to be difficult if you start with this kind of an attitude where in 6 months of your working experience, you're looking at a hike of 100%. So I think the industry is very closely looking at it, and this is we are very good in course correction. So we'll get into our calculation very fast, we'll slow down numbers, and we'll get back to the basics. So it's a combination of all. If we all get together, I think we can work this out. And as a kind of an association like this, I think it's very easy for you to get along and understand the companies which are around you, often coming for hiring, what are their requirements, and then get the students trained accordingly. And I am sure any organization would be happy to hire. If a TCS is taking somebody into digital, if a guy has done a CDL program, you need to tell a student that even an engineer can get into a cloud consultant role, which is a sales role. So unless you don't make those efforts of understanding job requirements, so don't get them certified, get them job track ready. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, excellent input from Dominic sir. From a generic perspective of having problems with solving skills, probably creative thinking and all these things, you're drilling down directly into specific core skill like cloud, SAP, that's what the earlier speaker was talking. So we have to make a delicate balance between these two things of creating a specific skill set in the student as well as having a generic skill set, so they are able to migrate between these two worlds, okay? Going to a particular skill set job or going to a generic job and then be ready for all kinds of skills. I would recommend that the student is, even if they have put a lot of time into cloud, and if they get a better opportunity in some other technology, they should be open for that, because that's how world is going to evolve, because technologies may not be relevant at that particular time when the business requirement is of some other skill set. Okay, thank you very much, Dominic sir. Now we have two panelists who are left out. We'll first take Manisha Patil for Electric and then go to Dr. Sayyed sir.
Hello. I will talk mostly on the accountability part. So skill sets are there, what the gap is there, and everyone knows, right? And colleges are working towards to fill up that gap. That is very, very important. But at the same time, accountability plays a vital role in terms of playing any kind of the job, any kind of the role. Doesn't matter you are a PM or you are a viper, right? Let's say some task is assigned in my place, then I should be accountable enough to complete that task in a timeline. If I'm getting one offer, I'm signing off for a particular company for let's say so and so period, then that is my responsibility to complete whichever the task is I'm supposed to do for that company. Right? Nowadays, as a technical director, I could see the people are getting the huge number of offers, they are joining the company. They are even within 10 days they are resigning and they are again joining other company. That is again not good. So that accountability attitude should get built in within the student. This is what my humble request to all the TPOs. Because doesn't matter when you are joining as a student or you are joining as a director, but if you are not taking your task as from the good faith or from the accountability perspective, then definitely you will get a fail. Doesn't matter how much salary, how much package you are going to get. So I would request here, we should have the PTA meeting even for colleges also. Nowadays we have that for senior, junior or the primary schools, but that meeting should be there in colleges also, because parents also playing a vital role to building that attitude within their kids, right? So that attitude should get built from the home itself. If something is assigned by the parents to the particular kid, that kid should be accountable enough, should be focused enough to complete that small task, then only he will complete the same thing in his job, right? Nowadays we are facing this biggest challenge in our talent people. They are very good in technology, they are very, very smart. Even the sir said within 3 months we can learn any language, any technology, right? But attitude we cannot learn within 3 months. So that's we need to build from the beginning of our life. And this is what I think so we should build within everyone. We should make students they should feel like whichever the task they have, they should do it from their heart. Then only they will achieve their success. And doesn't matter the person should come from where. If he's coming from regional area and he is very genuine in terms of completing his task, definitely he will win and he will become the PM of the country, right? So that attitude should get built within the student. This is what my intention.
Thanks a lot, Manisha ma'am. So, as rightly said, attitude wins over the technical skills. If you have the right attitude, you are going to go a long way. The last speaker comes from Reliance Jio, the biggest telecom sector company, and he is a very passionate academician, industry person who has looked at both the parts of the world. He had been a teacher, he's in the industry for a long time, so he's better positioned than us to give insights into how he looks at the new technology trends and recruitment trends, and especially from the Reliance perspective.
Thank you for this golden introduction. The most important point I would like to highlight, most recruitment parts have been taken care of by all the HRs. The academic part, which we have to address, which has not been addressed from last 70 years, is teaching standards. So you can't do any research unless and until you know the standard. So if you do any research, any product, it is out of standard, then it is a wishy-washy product and it cannot sustain. So standardization bodies are there, just like KGBP, OMA, TRC. So many product standardization bodies are there. Military product standardization bodies are there. So academicians are not taking part into the standardization bodies. Students are not a part of that bodies. And even Indian industry also is not part of that standardization body. This is the main point we have to address right now. Now, how come I come to this point? Because the first industrial revolution was in 1950s, where bullock cart was replaced by the engine, 2-stroke, 3-stroke, whatever. Then second industrial revolution came with the electronics added to that engine. It's just added. Third electronic revolution comes with the controls. The controls came, digitization came and controls came into that engine. And the fourth industrial revolution is database revolution, where all the data is collected through the sensors and we are applying artificial intelligence, machine learning scripts on that. So, if we are supposed to into the fourth industrial revolution, then we are supposed to work on data, the blockchain, the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, so many Internet of Things and 5G. So, I have privilege to design and develop 4G, all core network nodes inside our incubation center. Most of the people might be knowing from the academics. I think Wilson sir and Dr. Rahul, Madhav, and then Faisal and Dr. Prashant. I was interacting with them and they were visiting the labs. So it's around 18,000 crore rupees incubation center, world's largest incubation center. And we have designed all the 4G network nodes with the same students which are coming out of these colleges. And I'm also having privilege to say that we have completed 5G development and it is ready to the testbed as well as the production. So when Make in India is happening and we are moving for the sales of this product to the international community, same thing is going to happen with the electrical machines, electrical vehicles. Same thing. So TCS, Infosys, I have great respect for those people, those who have got the outsourced projects and created software manpower. And in the pandemic, they got more requirements, and they might have, recruited extra people also. I don't know. That might be the case. We have a big blood path going ahead. When the financial turmoil is approaching us, it has approached US now. So a lot of manpower. See, reality is goody is okay, but reality is you cannot hide those realities. UK, the blood path has started now. The economy turmoil has come. So actually, it will give an opportunity to India. So low cost manpower, see the constraint, I have to give an input to the TPOs. This race of CTC has to be stopped somewhere. You cannot always haphazard, this kind of 25 lakh, 6 lakh. The work of that particular student has to be told to him. There might be some standards of the industry which can be 7.5 lakh or 12 lakh, but that work has to be told to the students. So come to the Indian story of Make in India. So startups, blood path has already started because of the turmoil of economy. FIIs have taken out of their hands from the startups. So that will continue for 1 or 2 years, not more than that. But definitely, the big Make in India vision, in which entire railway renovation, entire telecom renovation, entire transport renovation is happening, there we are going to get more than 20-30 lakh manpower requirement generated. And as he rightly pointed out, service sector is always given little lesser packages, wherein product sector will be given more packages because the students are getting ingredient part of that product and they are irreplaceable. So technologies remain the same, but in services they have to just solve the trouble tickets, wherein in the products they have to keep on generating new releases with new features. So that gap will be there in the CTC, and usually that attracts students to go for the product-oriented companies. Coming here, it was an overwhelming experience for me, being into the 21 universities board of studies and 4 international universities board of studies. I wanted to give more inputs, but that stage would be something in the board of studies and governance council. या सगळ्यांमध्ये भेटल्यानंतर सगळ्या TPOना भेटून मी पुन्हा एकदा 3 वर्षानंतर फार आनंद झाला. पण एक वादळ भेटलं नव्हतं आणि ते वादळ आज मला भेटलं, ते शीतल रेवदार आहे. I think Sanjay has also, Dr. Sanjay has also described me about his active participation, great motivational skills, and bringing people together for the national cause. And definitely my best wishes to all of you for this great cause. And we have been recruiting around 1 lakh positions will be coming out for this 5G rollout, as well as retail, and we'll be definitely sharing all the details with all of you.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Different perspective altogether. It is always expected from someone like Dr. Sanjay. We have long chats in place and other places where we have met, especially even in his own incubation center. So it is always a pleasure to interact with him, talk to him. You get ideas. That's it. Okay, we'll take one question on latest futurist technology and how it could probably shape the recruitment trend. It's not a compulsory one. Anyone who is interested could take it up and please let us know how the future technology like AI, ML, big data, virtual reality, augmented reality, and so on and so forth. There will be multiple technologies. I cannot list down all of them because of paucity of time. If any one of you would want to throw a light on this, because we are running short of time, we are already at 2 o'clock, people are hungry, I understand, I'm waiting here, stopping them from their lunch, it's a very big sin that I'm committing, but these people have come all the way, spent the whole day, and you guys have come from lots of places. I drove yesterday 4 hours, or more than that. I think I started at 5:30, I reached here at 11:45, so imagine not doing the job properly will not give satisfaction. So we'll give a couple of minutes more for this show, please forgive me for that.
I would like to urge the industry people to share the things about share the updates about future technologies. But what we TPOs can learn from them is data is the new oil. So whatever he explained, data is the future of placements. And another important thing, when the company sends you the job notification form or job application form, we have our own formats. But we would urge all training and placement officers to study the job application form, study the job notification form. You will find everywhere it is connecting to either cloud, it is connecting to some contents of AI ML additions, some contents to the full stack development. And that is not mean that these are the only technologies. Main thing is, hereafter all TPOs to remember is, you should build a T in the student. T is the one which is the vertical T, where one domain expertise is essential, and the horizontal T, where he should be exposed and he should be trained on the basics of all Industry 4.0 skills, starting from IoT to AI/ML. Hereafter, student cannot say that I am not aware of this, or I have studied it in second year, I cannot remember it. It was my mini project, I cannot remember it. So, I would urge industry people to tell more about it, but only one definition of knowledge which I would like to quote here is that everything of something, that is the vertical T, everything of something, and something of everything, that is the horizontal T.
Excellent, sir. Excellent.
Is the future of placement.
Thank you very much, sir.
So two areas I would like to highlight. One is cyber security and forensics, where we need more than 10 lakh manpower, which is again negligible. China has got more than 1.3 CR engineers working on cyber forces. So might be we have discussed about the Rangada and something like that. But today all that Rangada is over and the drones are coming up, and that drones are also gone now, and it's a cyber security and financial war which is happening right now. Right now we are into the financial war. So blockchain technology for the transparency and security of the finances and distributed ledgers and cyber security. These two areas I see transforming entire society and exchange of model, trading model or money exchange model or any models, it's going to change. So we have to look for blockchain technology, cyber security, and of course all the software engineering with databases. databases and EMC storage especially. What I wanted to again highlight one thing, data centers, we need 6,000 data centers. We have predicted 6,000 universities in 2000 era. That time we have just started with the private universities and now we have 6,000. Last year we have predicted 6,000 data centers. Yes, education, healthcare, everybody will need data center. But for those, NFV and cloud engineers are also equally required. So you are in a golden era of training and placement division. You will get a lot of openings. Only skill gap you have to bridge and you have to place these students.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, extending to Sir's point, cyber. So we come from a cyber security product background. ConnectWise as a company. So yes, cyber security as a domain is very challenging. Let me talk about the technology part of it. You know what are the future technologies? It will be open source. You know, gone are the days where you need to install a lot of bigger software just to produce a simple program. You know, I will not be surprised if tomorrow open company will come that any one of us can come and code for it and develop products for them and just go to our home at the end of the day. So the future is all about open source. Yeah, decoupling, you know, very little dependency on technology. That's the reason Python is so famous today, right? Everyone wants Python because it's very simple, quick to deploy. You know, products will be user friendly. Products will be built within 6 months or 8 months, right? And plus it is open source. Tomorrow if you want to extend it, you can extend that product because it's an open source. So the future is open source.
Thank you, thanks a lot. I think we are falling short.
I just add one more point. As we keep talking about technology, we talk about cyber security. One of the things which is becoming crucial and which will be crucial in the future is ethics. And I think that is something which, you know, as TPOs, for every student, I think Kamlesh talked about it. That is going to become imperative, and how we do it is the next future problem.
ICT has included one ethical education as a subject and mandatory subject. So now cyber ethics is another way to look at it. So we will include that.
Okay, can we wind up the session because we are falling short of time. Otherwise, this show would have gone on and on, making me stand here for another 2 hours because there is so much knowledge on this particular dais, and we are only running short of time, and that's the reason why we are winding up the session. Thanks a million for all the panel members for exchanging their views, and also for being very patient and waiting here from this morning to participate in this particular panel discussion and giving their insights how to make this particular new generation ready for employment and make this nation great. Thank you very much. God bless you. Take care. We will break for lunch for this, and all of us will move to the lobby for a group photo, please.